Hi everyone and welcome to the channel. Today I've got a very special guest. I've got FPL Meerkat, Charlie, so I'm very lucky to have him on here. And as you can tell, we've both got Liverpool kits on. It's a Liverpool special today. How you doing, Charlie?
All good, all good. Thank you, Mo, for having me on. Yeah, really excited to talk about obviously our team and our potential picks, because there's been a lot of changing with the picks potentially this season. So yeah, excited to talk about it.
There's loads going on and there's even more going to happen. We're going to touch on that in a minute. How are you feeling before we even get stuck into that? Deadline is around the corner, Charlie. How are you feeling with your draft and FPL in general?
I'm feeling all right. I've been on basically the same team now for 3 or 4 days. I've not made any changes to it. The Brantwaite news that came out that he's picked up a hamstring injury has sort of swayed my thinking. Not too sure about that one, but mostly I'd say about 11, 12 of the players now are definitively in, I'd say. So pretty comfortable, to be honest.
I think you sound closer than me. I think I'm around 9 or 10 players, pretty locked. But there's a couple, like you said, Brantwaite injury that impacts basically the Everton defense, which I had one. I'm sure you probably had one as well. We should have put our drafts in this as well. Maybe we discussed that at the end, but I did want to focus on the Liverpool stuff. And hello to everyone that's already on here. I know there's other streams and Spurs are playing as well, but hopefully you join us and get this Liverpool information, which is actually vital. I think we're still one of the favourites. What do you reckon, Charlie, for this upcoming season? Albeit we lost against Crystal Palace.
I'd say we're still the favourites. I'd say I think the other teams have recruited well. I think we've had a very good transfer window, which we'll obviously get into. But yeah, given we'd won the season like fairly comfortably and we've recruited even more, I'd say we've got to be the favourites going to this season. Not that it's a guarantee though, at all.
No, because we know in football, it never works like just because you're adding quality to the team, it equals you're going to be a better team. Nick. We know that doesn't happen like that. And I have a slight bit of concern there actually, which is probably a good segue on straight away. To go into the next section, which is Liverpool's transfer window. So just from a non-even FPL perspective, what do you think of our transfer window so far?
I love it. I'm really excited by it all. I think we've been very fortunate as Liverpool fans to be living through this essentially gold generation we've had under Klopp with all these players. But we've had them for years now, and a lot of them they're getting close to the end of their careers. So there is that worry about what you're going to do in terms of a new team. And this feels really good in terms of finding like for like replacements for this team. It doesn't feel like Slot has come in and torn up trees. He's made our team a bit more modern, I think, and really recruited well in terms of the kind of players we want to see at Liverpool. Because the thing about all these players that I really like is they're not just really good players, they're also really likable. They're also really nice people. Like they come across as really nice people that will gel and will really get on. And I don't think any one of them is like, obviously we've got Salah, but I don't think any one of them is like going to snatch away the limelight, really. That's what I like about it all.
Totally agree. And I'm curious, you touched on something there. What do you think Slot has tweaked? Because I agree with you. We saw that Klopp team was one of the best teams I've ever seen. Like, but definitely one of the best Liverpool teams I've ever seen. It was incredible. The only unfortunate part, we happen to have a Pep City team that was even more ridiculous. Coming second with 98 points is comical. But what do you think, Slot? I know he's a season in, because it was quite slight changes. They're not drastic, which I liked about what Slot's done. What do you think the little changes he's done that's improved us?
I think the main thing's fluidity. I think what we saw as Liverpool fans nearing the end of Klopp's tenure was you would have a lot of games where it just didn't feel like he had a plan B. We'd go up against a team, we get locked out from the box, and you can really distinctively picture Robertson would get the ball, he'd pass it back, our centre backs, it'd go back again, it'd go to Trent on the other side, and it would just do this sort of U shape for 90 minutes. And it was frustrating to watch as a fan. But now we've got so many different options and different ways of attacking that I think that it just feel like a revolutionized team. And I think the main point of that is, I think the midfielder, I think having an attacking midfielder has really change the dynamic. It's not just going through, Trent previously, Salah, Mane in previous years, or Luis Diaz. It's now potentially going through the centre as well. I think has been incorporated a lot more.
I totally agree with you, and I feel almost bad saying it because, as I said, I'm a big Klopp fan, but I do think Slot has made us more unpredictable in attack, 100%. He's toned it down a little, which is defensively, for example. Because at certain times with Klopp, everyone was in the basically opponent's half, leaving Van Dijk had to do magic realistically to give us clean sheets. I think Slot's calmed that down a little, giving it a bit more assurances there in defense, which is nice. And what you said, there's having different ways of attacking now, which we're going to touch on Wirtz later on. It's going to be even better this season with this man here. But I agree with you. I think Slot has made slight changes, but they've impacted us in a big way. And of course, what bigger way than winning the league? I mean, come on, you ain't going to get better than that. So I didn't expect it. I was super impressed, and I'm in agreement. I'm super happy that we've gone from Klopp to Slot, and it looks like it's going well. So let me take you on to the transfer window. These are the 4 players. They potentially could be a 5th. I've seen Jay just mentioned that we're going to have Isaac chat tonight. I think we will have to. But let's run through it. What's your take on the 4 players that I've got on the screen here? Are you happy with them?
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, in terms of FPL, it's really exciting because I don't think there's a single player there on the list on the screen who is not a consideration. I think every single one has some kind of viability in someone's team. Is there any particular player you wanted to go through first?
You pick, mate. I'm happy to talk about all of them. You pick.
I'll start with Kirkez. Kirkez is an interesting one because when he was first announced, I thought, God, I want this guy in my team. I want this guy on my team because he's going to be, we've had Robertson. Simicast looks like he's leaving now. Kirkez is going to be that guy as a left back. He's going to be nurtured by Robertson, but he's going to get all the minutes. He's going to be basically nailed on at that left back spot. Maybe 1 or 2 times he gets rotated, but he's going to play most games.
Do you prefer him to, let me interrupt you there, Charlie. Do you prefer him to Ait-Nouri? If you had the choice, do you still go Kirkez?
I think I'd probably go Ait-Nouri just because of the attacking upside. And I do think Ait-Nouri will get very good minutes at Man City. Personally, but I still think Kirkez is a good pick.
So that was FPL, but what about for Liverpool? Selfishly, just for our team, who do you think is the better player? Do you think he's the better fit for us?
Yeah, I do think I prefer him personally. I think if you've got Frimpong and Ait-Nouri as your fullbacks, I think Van Dijk's got a lot of work to do in terms of if you've got 2 incredibly attacking fullbacks. But no, what I like about Kirkez is that he's still he's still pretty rigid defensively, and he knows the position. He knows to stay back. And if you've got one fullback that's really attacking and one who's not quite as attacking, I think that's a really nice balance.
And you touched on something there regarding, and we're going to get into that because we're going to talk predicted teams. That's one of the things I wanted to do this stream with Charlie, because his Liverpool knowledge is excellent. And if you don't know his work on X, he does all the predictive teams, and he's normally success rate very, very high. So you think Kirkez is almost a certainty with Robbo? I mean, Robbo is super experienced. I know some of the Liverpool fans started to turn on him last season. They think, I've heard stuff saying he's washed up and finished. I think it's harsh. But do you think Kirkez is going to be, like you said, 80%, 90% starting?
Yeah, I'd probably put him in that category. Maybe not to start the season. I wouldn't be 100%. Like, I'd say he's a very, very high chance, but I wouldn't say he's totally nailed to start off with. But I think as the season gets going, I think that's what he'll become. And I imagine that Robertson will get all the Carabao Cup, the initial FA Cup games. I think that'll be his role in the team, and Kirkez will be that starting player at left back as long as he's performing, that is, which we assume he will do. But yeah.
Okay, so that's Kirkez. I'm with you there. I echo everything you said. I'm happy he's joined us. I think he will be. He's more locked than the person I'm going to segue into. I think Frimpong. Now let's talk about him, because I think his one's a bit more tricky. I think the gap between him and Bradley is very tight. I mean, I think Bradley's a very good player. We saw him at the end of last season, where clearly Slot started to give him minutes, knowing Trent more than likely was gone. What do you think about that? What do you think, first of all, Frimpong is an FPL asset, and also minutes with regards to Bradley, who's still young?
So when Frimpong first signed, I was a little bit cautious, because looking at his profile, especially just his physical profile, he looks like a winger. He looks like someone who should be playing as a winger, and he's playing at right back. And when I saw him, I thought, oh, I'm not too sure about his physicality, whether he's actually going to be, how good he's going to be defensively. But for FPL, do we really mind about that? Not at all. We care about the attacking output. And yeah, I was impressed. He really knows how to run the channel. And that makes it very exciting, not only for Frimpong, but I think for Salah as well. He's someone that will obviously love to overlap. He played a right wing back role at Leverkusen. But yeah, he is obviously scored a goal as well against Palace. It was a very fluky one. I don't think he'll be scoring another one like that in his career. But yeah, I've been impressed. I've been impressed with what I've seen from him in pre-season in terms of how advanced up the pitch he's been, and certainly allows the likes of Salah to cut inside a lot more, and he really holds the width. And whilst Bradley's injured, I think he's a really decent pick, to be honest.
Okay, let's talk. Some of the points you mentioned there are very good. First and foremost, I like him. I agree. I think a lot of us were skeptical defensively. We've gone from a right back, Trent, who wasn't renowned for off the ball. It's more what he does with the ball, which I totally get. Frimpong, possibly similar. He's more known for his attacking prowess. Super fast, like frightening. The first 20 meters, my goodness, it's like a blur on the TV. And I did notice, it's only been a couple of games, when he is touching on the white line, far out wide, Salah's been taking up these new positions much more. I don't know if you noticed it in a lot. I was surprised. I'm not quite sure how that's going to impact Salah. Hopefully better for us in FPL-wise and for Liverpool as well. I did notice that, and they're clearly Liverpool are going to be building up lopsided much more with Frimpong because he's such an attacking threat. He is basically the right winger. Okay, so very impressed, and I think he opens up for us. Go on, Charlie.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think Salah will be more of a creator this year. I don't know if he'll be more of a goal scorer. From the games I've seen, he seems to love that area just outside the box, and he's done the same. Sometimes he travellas it, but the same cross that goes across goal to the back post, he's done it so many times near the end of last season and all throughout pre-season. I think we're going to see Salah getting a lot of assists this season, which, again, will that justify the price? Who knows? But I think, yeah, just options and outlets from Liverpool. I think this is a very exciting attack.
I would agree with you again. Last season, I predicted Salah to break the assist record. I was fuming come the end of the season because with 7 games, he only needed 2. And some of the players on our team, honestly, they've got blood on their hands because he was giving it to them on the play. Now, this season, I honestly think he's going to be close to breaking it again. I'm in agreement with you. He is, I think, the best assister in the Prem. I think now KDB's gone. I can't see anyone that's going to be. His passing is underrated. Let's just say that. I like you in preseason, saw the passes you're talking about, and he's put them on a plate. Even the Konate bicycle, I don't know if you saw that in preseason. That's an example of that pass he puts in. And if that's Ekitike or someone, they're going to be getting the goal. So, yeah, I think Frimpong's impact on Salah is interesting, and we'll touch on that a little bit more. Let's leave Wirtz for last then. What's your early thoughts about Ekitike, FPL and non-FPL?
Well, Ekitike, all I can say is I'm happy to be proven wrong, because when he signed, I thought this is a lot of money. This is someone who has frequently underperformed his XG. He's not the most clinical, and I thought, oh my God, this is Darwin Núñez all over again. Are we just going to get another not very clinical finisher? But that finish in the Charity Shield, I'm sorry, Darwin Núñez can't do that. And that is something that I suddenly thought, he's got intelligence to his game. He is tricky, he is tall, he's quick, he's surprisingly quick for someone who's that tall. Okay. And yeah, I really like him. I really like him as a player. And for FPL, I think he's an amazing differential. I don't think many people are going to go there because he's not going to be on penalties, but I like him. I like him a lot as a pick.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he could come into well, I say this, and then we've got the elephant in the room, which is Isaac. We'll discuss that after. But yeah. I think Ekitike, same as you, I've been very impressed with him. When I looked at the numbers, I mean, I don't get to watch the German league as much, so I'm not going to sit here and say to you, I've seen loads of these games. I was a bit cautious. That amount of money for someone who's had one good season, he was at PSG, didn't really cut it. But this is the way the modern game is. One good season and you're projected to £80 million worth of a player. And I think we just got to accept that. That's how football is now. What he has shown me, he's limmy. He's quite tall and limmy, but he has got good footwork and he's got good pace. So he ticks those attributes. If teams do play high up, he can run in behind. I think he's going to be a good player for us. The one question, go on.
I think he's going to be tricky for defenders. I don't know if you've ever played like in defense against limmy strikers, but it's really hard to get the ball off them. They use their arms. They get in the way, and I think he's going to be difficult for defenders to handle.
I agree with you. They're very awkward. You think you've got the ball because normally football and defending is all about managing distances. When you're playing with someone like this that's got the long octo legs, you think you've got him. I've got him. Then there goes the leg. He either wins a penalty or he's gone past you. So I agree. He's going to be an awkward player. So far, looks really good. I think he's a good price in FPL, even without the penalties. So that's Ekitike. And let's talk the big summer signing, Florian Wirtz. What do you think about this move? I was super surprised. What did you think of this?
So exciting. Yeah, this was, I've got to say, as a Liverpool fan, this is unusual to have a signing of this caliber. Usually that's reserved for the Man Cities making the big money signings, and especially Man United as well, like to splash the cash on the big signings. So a player costing this much money for us, I was scared at first. I thought, wow, like this doesn't feel, this is unusual for us to be spending this much money on a player. Yeah, he's looked very exciting. He's really hit the ground running, which I think he needed to. And in pre-season, I thought he'd be more of a pre-assister kind of player, more like what Szoboszlai was. But I think he's a lot more directly involved than I was expecting him to be. And yeah, I'm very excited if for him as a player for this Liverpool side, and especially as an FPL asset.
Yeah. Again, I'm totally with you here. Super player. I mean, you don't spend that amount of money for us even talking about his credentials. We can tell he's a super football player. At first, I thought, what about the physicality in the Premier League? But he's going to be one of those technical players that you can't really get near him. But even his physicality without the ball, I looked at his numbers in Germany, and they're incredible. They're like close to off the ball near Szoboszlai, which we know Szoboszlai is normally in the team for that, what he does without the ball. So he sort of ticks the boxes with the ball. So smooth. And without the ball, he's not a passenger. Where normally when you get the star marquee player for over 100 million, you're not expecting them to do that, that hard running. Their job is normally to score goals or assists. Looks like he's a perfect player for Slot because he can do both. Now, I wanted to ask you, I've got an opinion on this as well, but I want to hear you first. Do you think Isak coming into this 4 already, what do you think it does to the team? Does it take us up another level, or are we doing almost like too much, if there's such a thing?
I don't know what happens if Isak joins, but I'm personally in the camp now. I don't want Isak to join at this point. I think seen from the preseason games, I'm so happy with our attack. We need defense. We need defenders to come in. I think we are on the brink of doing that, which is good to see. But yeah, I don't really want Isak to come in now, just because his attitude towards Newcastle, I think, has been horrendous. And I feel like if there's a player he's going to do that to his own club, who have cherished him, do we really want to be welcoming someone like that who could potentially ruffle a few feathers, come in for massive money, be paid massive money? Is that going to just cause conflict? I'm not sure. I'm not sure I want him.
But what about the flip side, though? So he's worked his way up. He's got himself to an incredible club in Newcastle, got them Champions League. They won a trophy against us. I won't forget that game. They gave us a good lesson there. But now he's thinking this is the only opportunity. He's at that age now. He's got to make that marquee move now. I think it's 25. So he's down these tools. I agree with you. The optics don't look good. But I mean, how else do you get that? You're under a big contract. Amount of years, and he's thinking, Liverpool, look what they're building here. A young manager, a young team, look like they're champions already, look like they're going to push on. Wouldn't you do whatever it takes, or would you just carry on playing and be, by the time your contract expires, what are you going to do in that situation there? That's the devil's advocate side of it.
It's so difficult. It's just, I think the timing of it from him is weird. He's waiting until after we've signed Ekitike. Like this whole transfer saga was going on, and we were thinking, oh, so what Liverpool are doing are they're basically saying, give us Isak or we'll go for Ekitike instead. And once we got Ekitike, we thought that was it. And then all of a sudden, Isak wants to join. So it's just unusual. It's just unusual. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I love a player who's that good in our team. But we've already spent a massive money on Wirtz. We're going to spend even more on Isak. I think it is too much for me. I think it is too much.
But again, there's going to be another segue there, but I just want to touch on. So Jay Nova agrees with you regarding the way he's handled this Newcastle saga. It's not been great. But Jay mentions a very good point here. I at first was confused with the Ekitike move if we're buying Isak, because £85 million sub seems normally like Real Madrid or someone does that, not us. It seems unusual. But then is Isak a player that can play 90 minutes, 3 games in a week? I'm not quite sure the intensity we play. So maybe this makes sense that they actually, I don't know. I know he can play in the left, and we're going to discuss like lineups in a minute and where players could fit in. But do you think that works well? Because Isak couldn't play the whole season. 60 games we're going to play realistically.
Yeah, no, it's a very valid point. He is, I wouldn't say he's injury prone, but he isn't a fitness monster like some of the attackers we already have. Yeah. And yeah, you're right. I just don't think he'd be able to play Premier League, then Champions League, then Premier League, then and we want attackers that are going to do that. Maybe that's why we want 2 options up top, is so that we can do one of each. Might potentially be the play, but yeah, I for that kind of money, I don't think Isak's going to get. He's not going to be capable of that amount of game time, personally.
Yeah, as I said, that one I'm not quite sure as well how that's going to work. So clearly, Slot's got his work cut out, because a player of that caliber, if he's made a big move to Liverpool and then only for Isak to turn up, do you reckon we knew about that and we've told him? Or I don't know. I just, part of me in my head, I'm not quite sure how that's going to work, but hopefully we make it work. I don't know. I'm still a bit confused though for that one there. Okay, so that's the transfer window, the 4 players in. I want to move into the more detailed discussion now. This is the part really where we really need to get into, because Liverpool are going to be popular for FPL. And I want to get into the predicted team, especially for game week 1, but we'll talk a bit more about that. So for those of you that don't know, as I said, Charlie does this type of stuff every week. Check him out on X. All the teams, not just Liverpool, but I've obviously got him to go in detail on Liverpool today, all right? If you want to go through your predicted team for game week 1, mate.
So, yeah, I guess it's a blessing or a curse. So for Liverpool, we got a good look at the team during the Charity Shield. Unfortunately, McAllister's not up to full fitness at the moment, so he was just on the bench for that, and Curtis Jones came into the team instead. And obviously, Gravenberch was unavailable because his wife was giving birth, so he was unavailable on the day. For game week 1, Gravenberch is suspended. So I think the team becomes quite easy to predict. Bradley's also injured as well. And I think those are the main 2 positions of contention. As you can see there's about 7 players there I think are absolutely locked on. Again, because we've got 1 less number in midfield from Gravenberch, I think it's very easy to predict. Jones could go in there. Like McAllister, I don't think is a complete lock, because we don't know if he's up to full fitness. But once he is, I think his minutes are very, very solid. But there is a bit of contention here, because we have, as you can see, if you go from the midfield and the striker, 6 positions, and we have 7 absolutely quality players. Salah's obviously going to play all the time. He's an absolute fitness monster. He's the best on the right wing. He's going to play all the time. You've then got 5 positions and 6 players, and they're all really good. I don't think it's as simple as one of the players is just a bench option the whole season. I think we're going to see a lot of different things. I think we might see some different formations. I think we might see unexpected benchings from a couple players. But yeah, in terms of the minutes, I think Wirtz is absolutely fine for minutes. I don't really expect maybe 1 or 2 benchings over the whole season, but for that amount of money, I think he's going to come in. I think he's going to play that 10 role, and he's just going to be there in the team. Ekitike, I think, is absolutely fine for game week 1, because we just haven't got enough options. He's pretty much the only out-and-out striker we have. So I think his minutes look very good for the time being. If we don't sign anyone, if we don't sign Isak, I think his minutes are really, really good. I don't think they're quite as good as Wirtz. We could do some different things, but I think Ekitike is very solid. And I've also got Gakpo as a green option because, again, he's really the only option we have that's an out-and-out left winger. And that's where we've been playing him last season. I'm very confident that he will just play as a left wing. So I think that front four is absolutely settled. Szoboszlai is the difficult one because a lot of people would say, oh, well, when Gravenberch is back, you just have McAllister, Gravenberch as the two in midfield and then that attacking four. And then Szoboszlai just sits on the bench. But I know you agree with this, Mo. Szoboszlai does so much of the work off the ball, recovery work, which means the likes of Salah don't need to.
Yeah.
And he's so important to the team that there is no way he's just going to sit on the bench all season.
So you've gone straight to the core of one of the big issues here. For example, if it was like this week in, week out, I'd say Gakpo's probably at 7.5 million would be one of the best FPL assets, full stop. And you say he's the only out-and-out winger. I agree. At the moment, it's only him and you'd say young Rio. We haven't replaced Diaz. I'm not quite sure. Ekitike, there's been murmurs he could play left, possibly. Could argue in possession, we could play it in a way where Kirkes could be the left winger. He's so dominant, pushing up. So there's options there to give us width on the left-hand side. You spoke about Szoboszlai, and in fact, I'm going to go to this screen here because I created a graphic for it here because I called it the Gravenberch issue here. And once Gravenberch is back, so this midfield free here is basically what won us the league. Now, we've got Wirtz sitting on the side there. He's 116 million pounds. There's no way in earth he's coming and he's bench. He's no rotation. He's not part of this rotation. So he's going to start. But like you said a minute ago, when you lose Szoboszlai, Salah basically is allowed to, I won't call it goal hanging, but the half position, cheating position. And he's gone on interviews. You've seen these interviews saying that Slot was going to change it at the start of last season. He said, I'm going to change it. I don't like, because Klopp left him that job where he's allowed to chill up there as long as he delivers. Slot left it and Salah did deliver. Now, this season, I don't think he's going to change it, especially Salah of 1 year older, which means you need a player like Szoboszlai to be his legs. It used to be, I know Gravenberch and McAllister are there as well, but Szoboszlai was so pivotal, like you said, without the ball. Without the ball, he's like a 6. With the ball, he's meant to crash the box and be a 10. Okay? So it means, how are we going to do this against Arsenal, for example? Are you telling me we're still not going to play Szoboszlai then and play Wirtz in the 10 and keep that front four like you said? Or are we going to do something different? What do you think we're going to do in that scenario? Because it almost seems like we're interrupting a formula we had that was perfect. That midfield three, whether people liked it or not, it just worked. The balance was spot on. So what do you think we're going to do there?
I think you're spot on with that analysis, especially for games like Arsenal. I think the player who's most at risk for games like that, and obviously we've got a game against them coming up in game week 3, is unfortunately Gakpo. I think he's probably the one at risk. I think it's either Wirtz plays as the 10, and we have seen multiple times Szoboszlai plays out on the left. He plays sort of a different role. He's not an out-and-out winger. Does a lot of the dirty work, as we like to call it. We could see a reverse of that, Szoboszlai in the 10 and Wirtz out on the left. That could be an option. Wirtz has played as a left 10. He's played out on the left before. It's going to be very fluid. I don't think there's going to be many fixed positions here. But yeah, I reckon Gakpo could miss out on some of the tougher games. But then that leaves the question for the easier fixtures for FPL. We'd like to play our players in the easier fixtures. I think Gakpo's more likely. And I think it is more likely that Szoboszlai isn't in the team for those fixtures because he doesn't need to do as much of the work. Maybe McAllister drops out for one game. Maybe Ekitike drops out and Wirtz gets played as a false 9. There are so many different options that we just don't know at this point.
I agree with you. And even with this, we're talking it out to hopefully try to get some clarity, but it is very difficult because I looked at Gakpo as an FPL option, but I can't say he's going to play week in, week out because I think in the difficult fixture, I think game week 2 and 3, is it Newcastle and Arsenal? Yeah, I think it's possible that Wirtz could play there and he reverts back to this midfield 3 because they're difficult fixtures. I part of me thinks that I'm not sure. It might turn out completely incorrect, and Szoboszlai just rotates with McAllister for the 8, and Wirtz just plays in that 10, and Gakpo keeps the position. If it does, we will change. I will be changing my opinion, and he would be on the cards for an FPL asset. Do you think at the moment are you considering Gakpo in your FPL team?
No, unfortunately, I've changed my strategy this season, which is a shame to say. I really liked going for punts of players who are a little bit risky but a massive upside if they do play. Unfortunately, this season I'm just sticking to my tried and tested players that I just know are going to play all the time. Those green circles in my lineup basically every single week. So Gakpo's not someone that I want to go for. He's obviously green this week because there's no Gravenberch. We know who's going to play. But yeah, past that, once Gravenberch is back from suspension, I just have no guarantee that he's going to play. Maybe later on in the season, we get an idea that he is going to play regularly, or there's an injury. But to start the season, I'd much happily pay the extra for Wirtz, just surety of minutes.
So is Wirtz in your current FPL team?
He is indeed. He was in my initial draft when the game first launched, and then I took him out. And then I basically saw just before the Palace game, I thought, it's the first game. I'm going to be at Fantasy Football Fest. That's going to be the game on the big screen. I want 2 attackers in that game. It's going to be so much fun.
So you've got Salah and Wirtz in your team. I've only got one. Yeah, I've only got one Liverpool player at the moment, which don't feel right. I was thinking at one stage Frimpong, but I'm not sure what you said a minute ago. I want to start the season. Last season, I started with about 3 or 4 players that were risky. By game week 2 or 3, Charlie, I was in trouble. I had Kwanzaa, Barco, that type of team, and it didn't go well. So this season, I want to try and start the team a bit more locked in players. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to risk it. But let's run through just quickly through the Liverpool team, and then we'll move on to the next graphics. So you think, obviously, Salah's the most nailed Liverpool player, non-stop. Second by Wirtz. Would you agree with that?
From the attack, yes.
Yeah, from the attack. Yeah, and then the next between Ekitike and Gakpo, you think them 2 similar minutes? This is before any Isaac. Forget that chat, just how we are now.
I'd put Ekitike above Gakpo in terms of minutes. I think it's a lot more likely that Ekitike plays as a striker and can play on the left than it is Gakpo plays on the left then goes up top, because it just hasn't worked as Gakpo as a striker.
Okay. Now we know Frimpong during the African nations is going to be probably 100% owned, because it's going to be ridiculous. I mean, long as Bradley's fit as well and he plays on the wing, which we know he can do. And it sounds like we're going to sell Doak, who is the only other right winger. I mean, he's never really been in contention. Do you think the battle, I know you've got him on yellow on this, do you think the battle between Frimpong and Bradley is as close I make out, or do you think Frimpong is the starter because that's who Slot's bought in? He actually bought him in, where he got Bradley.
Yeah, I did initially have Bradley, like I'm thinking that he was going to play this first game. I've only put Frimpong on yellow because it's not like absolute guaranteed that Bradley's out. He could miraculously recover and start. It's obviously very unlikely, but it's really difficult. I think that we will see plenty of rotation between the two. I think Frimpong will play more games than Bradley, but I certainly don't think it's Frimpong's absolutely nailed going to play all the time. I think we'll see Bradley play considerable minutes. I'd have any confidence in saying how many that'll be, but I don't think you can leave a player who's just defensively solid and offers some attacking output with Bradley. You can't just leave him on the bench for every single game in the league.
So what happens then? Do you think Slot's just going to rotate them? Or do you think it's one gets the shirt and if they play bad, then the other comes on? What do you think it's a tricky one, that?
I think it'll be a game by game process. I think it will be depending on how much pressure Slot wants to put on the right. If he really wants to target that left back, he plays Frimpong. If he wants more defensive cover in a game, it could also just be, quite simply, if we've got one attacking fullback and one defensive, he just starts Frimpong and subs him off for Bradley. That he just subs Bradley on after 60, 70 minutes to shore up the game. That could absolutely be what happens as well.
Fair. Same question for Alisson and Mamardashvili. Do you think? I mean, he's had quite a lot of games in pre-season. We know Alisson's had things to sort out back in Brazil and whatnot. Or do you think no chance? He's the number one this season. The other guy's got to just take his time and get maybe cup games.
Yeah, Mohamed he's looked really good in pre-season. He's made some great saves, but no, for me, Alisson is the second best keeper in the world, and yeah, I just don't think there's any contention really. I think he's absolutely nailed for that starting position, and that this signing is certainly a contingency plan for if Alisson leaves or when he wants to leave, or I think it's just bringing an absolutely assured second option to also play cup games as well.
And to be fair, Alisson, world class he is, but he does get injured quite a lot for a goalkeeper. So it's more than likely he will get minutes. So it's good that we've got him in. And I have to correct you. Did you just say the second best goalkeeper in the world? Come on. There's no one better than Alisson. Come on.
I'm sorry. I'm still traumatized by that Courtois performance in the final. I can't. He's traumatized me.
I know. It's the one when he saved Mane's one and he hit post. When that happened, I knew we were doomed. By the way, you see Liverpool fans trauma. Here.
I mean, Alisson's had performances like that, but yeah, the
Alisson performance against PSG last season.
Yes, yeah, he honestly kept us in that game single-handedly. Crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah, that was a good one. Okay, so I've already asked you about Frimpong and Kirkes earlier on. Van Dijk is he's a certainty, no problem. Konate is an interesting one because he coming in and potentially that new young lad as well. I forgot his name now.
I don't actually remember. I literally have not heard of him, and then we suddenly got rumored with him. So I'm not 100%. Obviously, I know Gay, but yeah.
So what do you think happens there? Konate's minutes potentially?
It's really tricky, especially so if Gahey comes in. It's really tricky because I don't think I think anyone saying this one's definitively better than the other, I just don't agree with. I think they're fairly similar. I'd probably put Konate just slightly above Gahey at the moment, but Gahey's one of, if not the best centre back for England right now. He's absolutely someone who will want regular game time. He's certainly going to push Konate, who, let's face it, for one, is a little bit injury prone, and two, is looking to leave at the end of the season. He's not extending his contract. He's looking to leave. So I can very much see Konate starting the season and then very quickly Gahey just pushes him out the team. And to be honest, if he signed as a 4.5 centre-back for Liverpool, it might be absolutely crazy for FPL.
Yeah, it would be. It really would for FPL as well, especially as he's he was good for defensive contributions at Palace. I probably wouldn't be for Liverpool as we're so dominant on the ball. But so
yeah,
go on.
I was going to say we should probably touch on these defensive contributions because Liverpool they're obviously one of the top teams that don't do much defending anyway. Van Dijk is fairly good for defensive contributions. He's not he's obviously not on the level of Tarkowski, Murillo, anything like that. But for the top teams, there's not anyone better than him from the top teams. He was in my draft to start off with, and he was there for most of the time. But I've taken him out. The straw that broke the camel's back was that performance against Crystal Palace. I just don't think defensively we look very good. And when I look at the first three fixtures, Bournemouth, Newcastle, Arsenal, those are three quality attacks. I just don't see any clean sheets for us. And why am I paying $6 million for a defender who I don't think is going to keep clean sheets? So I can't back the Liverpool defence for the start of the season.
Totally agree with you. And there was a stage where I saw him in a lot of drafts in the community we're in, a lot of other managers. I think that's calmed down now. Our performances, we haven't looked that great defensively. That's a combination of pre-season match sharpness. Also, Gravenberch not being, the same midfield three last season. A couple of differences. So hopefully we do shore up. But I agree with you. I wouldn't be paying £6 million for Van Dijk at the moment, albeit. And it takes him a little while to get up to speed. We know for a fact he will be there or thereabouts this season as one of the best defenders.
And I'm planning on having Salah captained and Wirtz anyway. So if I get a clean sheet, that's 3 points. That's basically a clean sheet anyway.
Totally agree. We answered this, my friend, before you jumped on. Yeah, we know he's not playing. That's the reason we discussed that. Yeah. And also, what was this? Gakpo and Bowen, or oh, is it this one here? Here's one for you, mate. Gakpo and Bowen, or Ekitike and Rodgers. No Salah already have Wirtz.
Ekitike and Rodgers, I'd say for me. That's tough though, because I own Bowen in my own team. I heavily considered Rodgers as well. But yeah, I think just for the assurity, I'd go Ekitike and Rodgers on that.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's difficult. That's such a tight one, that is, because I like Gakpo as well. That's a good one there as well. All right, I think we've covered all of the Liverpool 50-50. Oh, actually, well, let's talk some more about Salah, 14.5 million last season. It was just ridiculous. I mean, I started without him last season. It shows how much I know completely. But I did eventually make the switch from Haaland to him. It took a little while, but I got there. What do you think this season? Do you think he's going to be worthwhile? Because I've seen there's combinations. Some people are thinking like Wirtz and Gakpo, almost, and no Salah. Am I going to cover the points? I know some people don't like saying you can't cover certain players, especially players like Salah. Do you think he's going to be? Do you think he's going to be an asset just as powerful he has been for the last 8 years?
I don't think he will be, and I've got him in my team currently. So it's weird saying. I think he's the most expensive he's ever been. And yes, he's just coming off the back of the season of his life. But this attack I think you can be a lot more sure for minutes currently, whilst we don't have anyone else, which is something that we hadn't had previously. You picked Salah and you picked Mane because you knew they'd play all the time. Whereas Luis Diaz, Jota, obviously, Darwin, they were just never nailed in the team. So that's why you'd go for Salah. That's why you'd pay the extra. The reason I've got him in my own team and I'm captaining in game week 1, and I've never had any doubt about that, is because it's the start of the season. You don't want to ruin your season straight away. I know that Salah is the kind of player that can go absolutely massive, has a terrifyingly high ownership. I do not want to be on the wrong side of that right from the get-go and then have an absolute nightmare trying to fit him in for the following game week because I've messed it all up. Or I have to watch every week hoping he doesn't do anything. I just sleep a lot easier at night knowing I've got him in the team. Personally, I don't think he'll be as good this season, but we will wait and see. I've not been put off by the Crystal Palace performance. I think there's a massive overreaction to that. I don't think that's enough to say, Salah's not going to be as good at this season because there was this one game where he did badly. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
But are you saying so he's not going to be as good? Because I agree, 47 goal contributions is rare, even by his standards. But he's still, surely this is Salah. He's done it, the so-called one season wonder's done it for 8 years. Surely he's going to deliver still enough stats. It's just whether you catch him at the right time or whether you think you can go against him. And a lot of managers will be. I mean, my take on it is the start of the season, he normally starts very strong. Game week 1 and game week 4 are lovely for him. They're prime. Game week 2 and 3, no problem. They're tricky, hence why you'd have probably another premium. You don't mind owning him, but you probably wouldn't captain him. You would agree with that?
Yes, yeah. I think 2 and 3. I've got Palmer, I think, lined up for both of those game weeks. Obviously, Saka has a good fixture game week 2 as well. And yeah, I guess the other thing we should mention is I went into the season before the price even announced. I sort of made a promise that I was going to go Salah and not Haaland because I just knew it'd be far too difficult to try and make a team of both of them. And that sort of just having that decision made in my head made my decision making a lot easier. I've tried to fit both in, but it's not feasible for me. You have to have too many cheap players for my liking.
Yeah, I'm like you. I didn't consider Haaland in this season. It could prove to be a mistake, but you can't own all of them. The 14 million, 14.5. I tried a couple of drafts and it meant I had too many 4 million, 4.5 million pound players in my team. I don't think that's the way to go. So yeah, like you, I think I've got the same premium combination. Let's look at Liverpool's opening fixtures here. We touched on the first 4. The Everton fixture here is interesting. This FDR, official FPL, brought it down as a 2, almost an easy fixture. Do you agree with that?
No. And to be honest, I think the FDR is really interesting this year because we obviously love our green fixtures, right? That lovely green 2 to look at. I don't think there are many green fixtures in the Premier League anymore. I don't think there are many teams who are walkovers because I think you're middle and lower middle teams, your Bournemouths, your Fulhams, your Palaces, your Forests, they're all really good. They'll give you a run for your money. They can definitely win over on you. Everton, another one I'd put in that conversation. I don't think Everton at home is a 2 at all. I think the only really good fixture there is that Burnley game, which, and United at home, I'd say, is also a good fixture. But I think looking at these fixtures, I know some people are going to think about it. I think there's definitely a case to just go without Salah and then free hit in game week 4. I think that's definitely something that is worth considering if you're thinking about not going Salah.
I totally agree with you. If you are not going Salah, the game week 4 is the only one you would actually be scared for that game week. You would be worried. It's the sort of game week he could do it. He could go crazy. He could do it against any of these teams. I would say Bournemouth's a good fixture so early, considering they've been decimated transfer-wise. Their whole back four is probably gone. I know they're making signings and they've got a very good manager, but I think that's a good fixture. After that, Newcastle, Arsenal, Everton, Palace, you saw what they've done to us on the weekend. Chelsea, difficult. Even the Man United, we're not quite sure it's unknown quantity. They've only got one game a week and they've had a good transfer window. I don't know. So I'm in agreement with you. I don't see a triple Liverpool scenario at all. I think maximum 2 for me. What do you think?
I have had triple ups on Liverpool just because I think we are the best team in the league. So I think, just going off the back of that rather than looking simply purely at fixtures. But the thing is, I just don't think the defense is good enough. And I think triple attack is just overkill. I think at that point, if you've got 3 attackers for a team every week, you're hoping that we win 3-0 every single week, which, I mean, is a challenge for any team in the world to be able to do that. But yeah, I agree. 2 is kind of the max for me now.
Totally agree with you. And I think this data, we just spoke about the fixtures now. This is the team goal projections taken from Solio, who make excellent data graphics like this. Definitely check them out if you're interested in your data here. Have a look at this. In fact, I better put my glasses for this now.
Yeah, so I actually listened to the podcast where he explains where he gets this from, which is really interesting to listen to. He basically looks at the market odds for how many goals there are going to be in the game and then allocates it based on the projected odds for which team scoring goals. So I think he gave an example of, for example, game week 1, Liverpool there, you can see 2.7. I think there's predicted to be 3.5 goals in that game. Yeah. So he's allocated 2.7 to Liverpool, 0.8 to Bournemouth. That's how actually you can probably see Bournemouth. Oh, it's 1. Yeah. So it's 3.7 and that's how he's allocated it. So really interesting how he's got this data. But yeah, it's interesting with, Liverpool second there. Just below Man City. That game week 6 fixture just looked terrifying, doesn't it?
It does look, not having
Burnley at home, I think that is, isn't it?
Yeah,
Burnley at home.
Yeah, that's going to be carnage right there. If we just rein it back to Liverpool, because we're looking at the fixtures in our heads, we already said triple Liverpool's probably not good, but when you look at the data, for example, game week 1 is 2.7 goals. If you've got double attack, that's not, even maybe triple attack is not bad. Game week 2, even against Newcastle, who've had a difficult summer, not just transfers. I mean, they can't sign no one. They've been conceding goals. They've signed a centre-back from AC Milan to hopefully help them defensively. But you could see Liverpool scoring. Like their predictions, I think it's not too bad. They're 2 goals there. Game week 3 against Arsenal, that's the one that is a no-go from my perspective. You don't captain or you wouldn't want triple or double attackers. Game week 4 is gorgeous, but game week 5 and 6 on this data now, this is looking further ahead. It could change, of course, as you get closer. It almost makes me think it's not too bad, the double Liverpool attack, the way you're going. Maybe not triple. I think this backs up the approach you're taking with Wirtz and Salah.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, we are, as you can see, they're the highest. 3 of the 5 were the highest, and those are the 3 weeks I'd just consider captaining Salah. And then, I've effectively got Wirtz as that double up because I think the attack is good enough to double up on. I think the fixtures are decent enough as well. I think Newcastle, we can definitely still score goals against Newcastle. They haven't looked very good defensively. I know they've just signed Fior, I think his name is. centre-back, which could improve them. But I doubt that. Yeah, it's just mainly the Arsenal one that worries me. So if one bad fixture in the first 5, I'm very happy to just double up on that attack. And yeah, obviously as a fan, it makes it a lot easier. A lot easier. I've spoken to a lot of United fans who play fantasy, and they struggle with it because they feel like they should be picking Man United players, but apart from Bruno, who are you picking?
I mean, this season they might get Sesko or Cunha or who else is there? There's one, but Mbeumo. You never know. Something could materialize
in a few teams.
Yeah, I think something is going to materialize there. I refuse to believe they're going to be as bad as last season. It's impossible. The security guards will walk Amaron out the building if that is the case. They won't. No chance. They're going to be better. While we're still on this graphic, Charlie, I want to ask you. So Liverpool, you captaining out of that first 6 game weeks. I only captaining Salah twice.
In the first 6, no, probably 3 times. I think actually, I just need to. I could probably guess from the graphic. I think it's interesting that Chelsea is only 1.8. They play West Ham game week 2, right? That's actually a lot lower than I thought it was for Chelsea. I was intending on captaining Palmer in game week 2, but yeah, definitely captaining Salah for at least 3. Who do we play in game week 6? Who's that?
Here we go. It's Crystal
Everton.
Palace away. No,
Crystal Palace away.
Game week 6, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've probably captained 4 times then. I need to have a look at the other. I just know that between Palmer and Salah, it works quite well. Game week 3, yeah, and definitely captaining Palmer for that one. But yeah, for most of them, and especially game week 1, which to be honest is the main one to think about. Definitely for game week 1, be captaining Salah.
Fine, no problem. Let's look at the clean sheet projections as well. Taken.
Yeah, this is
also similar.
This is crazy. We're top.
We've gone full circle. Me and you discussed it earlier. I'm thinking no chance, no Liverpool defenders, and yet statistically, if you're using the market odds, look where we're at.
I mean,
interesting.
Yeah,
for the first 6 game weeks.
I'm not too sure how this can't have too heavily influence what's happened recently, because I mean, looking at Spurs there, 45% chance that's against Burnley, and then an 8% chance against City. Like that's just the full breadth of it, I guess, the highest and the lowest. But yeah, obviously looking at Liverpool's, I mean, never lower than 25%. That doesn't feel right. In fact, actually, surprisingly, it's actually it's higher against Arsenal than it is for Newcastle. I guess that's the home advantage, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't agree with these odds at all. I'm not going to lie. I've really been put off our defense. I guess this is going off of last season's data. We were statistically the 2nd best defense in the league.
Yeah.
Obviously, Arsenal the only one better, but their fixtures are so bad that they are below us. I don't think it's worth it personally. I think our defense is expensive. I don't think we'll keep clean sheets. We just don't look really defensively solid, and they're not good for the defensive contribution points. I just don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I do think those numbers look, using last year's data, we're champions as well. All of that put together. I think once these are after the first 2 game weeks, I think they're going to recollaborate, put them back together again. I think they'll be a bit more lower. I don't think we're that good defensively at the moment. Things can change. Obviously, once the whistle blows in game week 1, things could change. Let me just, someone asked a question for you there a minute ago. Do any of us have, or both of us, do any of us have 4.5 million midfielders? I don't. Is there even a 4 point?
There's 2.
Oh,
yeah. This is an advantage of doing predicted lineups every week, is that you get to learn about these potential differentials. So currently we've got 2 starting 4.5 midfielders. There's King from Fulham, who plays as the 10. He seems to have displaced Smith Rowe and Pereira as the number 10. Whether that will continue, we don't know. But obviously, if it does, that's crazy. There's a 4.5 attacking midfielder for Fulham. The other one is Potts from West Ham. Plays as a central midfielder, and he looks pretty nailed at the moment. He's played every game. He's played ahead of Souček in that team. West Ham play a midfield 3. They play a 3-5-2. And Potts has been one of the midfielders constantly. And talking to West Ham fans as well, he's been their best midfielder. So Potts if you want a starting 4.5 midfielder, and King if you want a potentially risky, exciting one.
But the Potts one, they've still got, I suppose, what's his name, Ward-Prowse and Souček. Well,
so it's been Ward-Prowse, Paqueta, Potts.
All right, is that the three they've played? Okay.
Yeah, so there's still Alvarez, there's still Souček, there's still Rodriguez as well.
Right.
But that has been the three, and that will probably be the three in game week 1. Who knows if it continues? But yeah, that's what it's been so far.
So do you have, the question to answer it, you don't have a 4.5 in your team at the moment?
No, I haven't had a single draft where I haven't had a 4.5 forward. I just think the midfielders seem so much better than the forwards. I think it's quite difficult to justify a lot of the forwards. There's a lot of unknowns about so many of the forwards. So yeah, I've got Krupi Jr. I think it is from Bournemouth as a 4.5 forward. But yeah, I have a whole playing midfield 5.
Okay, because you're playing your structure is for 3-5-2, basically. I think
3-5-2. I've got Anderson currently, the Nottingham Forest midfielder. The idea is to sometimes play a 4-4-2, but most of the time it'll be a 3-5-2. Yeah.
And the second part of the question from the same guy, thank you for the questions, because we're close to finishing up now, so I'm just taking some of these questions. Dewsbury Hall, this is because you do the predictions, so I'm tapping you for this information. Do you think, because I'm not quite sure what's happening at Everton, they've signed Grealish. A lot of us were very keen on Ndiaye. Dewsbury Hall's there, and there's also who's the other one? McNeil's not even been featuring. What's going to happen there? Because I consider Dewsbury Hall for a nice price, 5 million. I need that money as well. I really do to pick some of these other players. But
I think Dewsbury Hall's a cracking option. I think he was underpriced at 5 million, just in case he did get a move. I think he's great. I think he will play. I can't say with 100% confidence he's nailed. I think he's very, very good for minutes, because the advantage he has, he can play as an 8 or a 10. And so Everton play a 4-2-3-1. And the fact he can play 2 positions is great. They play Garner. They play Garner and Garner as a double pivot. So Garner, Idrissa Garner-Gay and Garner, the previous Man United midfielder, as a double pivot. He could displace Garner as one of the 8s. Or he could, what's probably most likely is he plays as a 10. Ndiaye, locked. He's absolutely locked in that team. No worries about him.
Even with Grealish coming in eventually?
Even with Grealish, yeah. Even with Grealish.
You think so?
It will either be Grealish plays on the left and Ndiaye moves over to the right. Ndiaye's preferred on the left, so I don't think that'll happen. I think what's most likely is Ndiaye plays on the left, Grealish plays as a 10, Dewsbury Hall plays as an 8, and Garner moves out of the team. And then on the right, you've got Alcaraz, you've got McNeil, of course. Yes, exactly. Yeah, Grealish could play as a 10. I think that's most likely. And then obviously you've got Barry or Beto up top. I think it will eventually be Barry, but Beto maybe just start the season.
And what about, there's the questions from me here actually, just before we finish.
No.
What about Fulkrug? What do you think he's, because I was like you, I started with Bowen. Recently I thought, can I save that 2 million and get a Bruno and have Fulkrug up front? Is there a problem? Is there Wilson? Is he going to, as soon as game week 1's finished, he's already, minutes issue? What do you think there?
I think Fulkrug's very good for minutes. I think that West Ham seem to have found their footing with this 3-5-2. They were chopping and changing a lot. Yeah. What works quite well with it is they change. So it can either be Bowen and Fulkrug up top, or it can be Fulkrug up top with Bowen and Paqueta as 2 10s. Alternates very well. And obviously the standing figure there is Fulkrug. I think he will start most games, if not all. I think he's really liked by the West Ham fans. He just was struggling with fitness last season, and I think he's definitely shaken off whatever he had. I think he's genuinely, I think for game week 1, he's one of the best options to just punt on because Sunderland have not been good from set pieces, defending set pieces. and they've got a brand new team, basically, full of all these new players. Who knows what could happen there? But a Füllkrug header is definitely on the cards, I think, for game week 1. I think of the 6 million strikers, he'd be my favourite.
Yeah, I was thinking that. At the moment, I'm thinking to go him, but I'm just worried. We spoke earlier on about not going into a team with too many risky players, and I wasn't sure, does he fit into that category? Is he? I don't mind the difficult fixtures after the Sunderland, game week 2, 3, 4. I can accept that. Long as he's playing, I will take it. So this is the only thing I was worried about. We're going to finish off on this graphic here, as we can see here. Liverpool, we've already spoken about. I think we've covered everything we needed to cover. Let's see, you can think of anything else, Charlie, that we didn't cover. Tottenham's the one that is a bit of a FOMO there. Look what they're predicted to do, some good damage there. I'm not sure how they're doing. They're playing right.
I was literally just about to check. They're winning 2-0.
Oh, they're beating PSG.
Romero and Van de Ven goals.
Okay.
Both centre-back goals. I'm guessing that's 2. Yeah. If anyone's watching the game, please tell us. But I'm guessing that's 2 set pieces. Porro with an assist as well. Oh, boy. Wow, those defenders are going to be very popular.
You know what? I didn't want to consider Spurs defenders, but Porro I keep seeing becoming more and more popular. He was popular even under Ange, under that crazy style of football, but he's very good with the ball. But also I'm hearing set pieces as well. We're going to be taking more set pieces with no Maddison on the pitch. I'm not sure if that's going to stick throughout the whole season. But their opening fixtures are really good. And at the moment, I've currently got no Spurs in my team. Do you have any Spurs in your team?
I do have Van de Ven, so I would have loved that in game week 1. The main reason I've got Van de Ven is not because I particularly like the Spurs defence. It's just because the 3 defenders who I have, which is, I might change now, but Murillo, Tarkowski, and Chris Richards from Palace. Van de Ven was just the one who rotated the best with all those 3. So basically, I just play him when one of them has a bad fixture.
Okay, that's the reason. I might have to consider that. Everyone's going to think I'm just just jumping on because they've got a goal or an assist. I can assure you, it's not. It's not knee jerking. And I think we're nearly done. Only one more question's coming from the Twitter and from Bryce. What 5 million goalkeeper should I get? I can tell you which one. In fact, what goalkeeper have you got? And I'll tell you who
I've got. Cells.
5 million.
I've got Cells.
Okay, then. So mine wasn't so original. I've got Cells as well. you've got double Nottingham Forest defense.
I do, yeah. I just think I think defensively they've got some of the best opening fixtures. Cells he's just reliable. He was so good last season. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be next season. I know Sanchez has been in a couple of drafts just because I think the Chelsea defense is pretty good, and accessing that for 5 million. The only thing I'm just not 100% on Sanchez. I feel like a couple stinkers and he just comes out the team. I'm not completely settled on him playing every week.
Yeah, I don't really rate him as a goalkeeper, so I never considered him. Although I wanted some Chelsea defense, so I've gone a bit different here. I've gone Cucurella in my team. It's an extra million. I know very expensive for a 6 million defender, but I do think he's given the role at Chelsea to be the unpredictable, to break systems, as in to come in, crash the box. And you looked at him through pre-season and even how he ended last season. I know it could change. Styles and Maresca's similar to Pep in that way. He can change his setup completely depending on the opposition. And they've got Hato, but I do like him at the moment, giving me Chelsea coverage for the defense and also some attacking prowess from a 6 million defender. I'm just flicking through. Jay, we did cover this already, which is good. So I just want to make sure we covered that. I didn't miss no questions. Delhi, I haven't really checked FPO news lately, even though I actually found super helpful FPO on me. Of course, that's why I saved it for you. Of course, his threads are the lifeline of X or Twitter. Honestly, you want all your information from the one account that you really actually have to follow. Hence why I was so happy to get him onto the channel. So, good evening, my friend. Sorry I missed it at the start. Good evening. Hope you're good. I think we are totally good. And I've kept you already long enough. So thank you.
No, fantastic. About an hour. Brilliant.
Seriously. Yeah, that was perfect. Thank you very much. I found that very useful. Hopefully you found that useful. Now I'm ready to put Wirtz back in my team because I did a swap him. It's between him and Bruno.
Oh, Yeah,
You're not a fan. You're not a fan of that.
Have you got Watkins as well?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That.
I think if you've got Salah and Palmer, I think you can only have two of those three, and
that's the problem. Yeah,
it's difficult. I think Watkins has been in from the start for me, and unfortunately, he scored too many goals over pre-season, and now everyone's got him. Too much attract and warranted attention for me. But yeah, between Wirtz and Bruno, I think it's very tough because Wirtz obviously playing in a much better team and will have that incredibly high attacking output. But Bruno, as we've seen from games he's played, really good for defensive contributions, and he's on set pieces, he's on penalties, he plays every single minute. He's a really consistent asset. He's steep at 9 million, but like he'll very easily, like even if he has a bad season, he'll still get like 180 points. It's just so many ways he can get points. It's tough. It's tough, that one.
So you think he justifies the 9 million? He's still worth it?
I think he does. Because he's just got so many different routes to points. I can see why they priced him at 9 million. He had to be 1 million more than your Mbeumo and your Cunha, because he's just got so much more to his game, even if he is playing a bit more defensive.
I think he ticks every box, apart from I've still got a bit of trauma from last season. Basically, last season when I started the season of him, and do you remember he was missing? It was equivalent of this. He was the first game at Fest. I was there. You wasn't there last season, Charlie. Fulham versus Manchester United. He had those 2 1-on-1s, and then it continued. Yeah. I think he was one of the biggest underachievers XP for the first 4 games. Him and Eza, and surprise, I had both of them. So I think I've got a bit of that in my mind, but I do like him because of what you said. He's just got so many routes to points, so consistent, and he's just a
Bruno was my he was my lord and savior last season. I had him for 1 game week, and it was when I free hit, and it's when Man United played Leicester, and I captained him. And I think it was Leicester. He got a brace. Brace when I captained him, so I got 34 points from him, and that was the one time I owned him the entire season. So I was absolutely thrilled with him.
That's why you actually destroyed last season. What's going on, FPL Cayman? It's good to see you on here. I saw.
Oh, speaking of destroyed last season, Cayman was he's putting his videos the highest ranked FPL YouTuber.
He absolutely destroyed it, but now he has the unwanted pressure of having to go again this season. Let's see how you get on. He's going to be super gassed because he's Manchester United team. I've bought some good players as well. And another one, thank you for jumping on. Thinking Catman, he said, I've been grinding this season. I've been trying, it's not easy, but I've been enjoying it still. Made it easier when I've got people like Charlie on the team. And the last thing I'm going to say, listen, Jay said the like and subscribe. Yeah, please do so. Hopefully you found it enjoyable. And thank you very much. I think that's a perfect to finish up on that. Thank you very much, Charlie. Really appreciate that, mate. Honestly, really enjoyed that. And it's helped clear things up for me, Liverpool-wise.
Yeah, pleasure being on. I'm looking forward to the first game of the season as well. Really looking forward to those points in the first game.
Perfect. Listen, on that note, I'm going to say everyone good luck, and good luck for game week 1, everyone. Hopefully I'll see you on Friday.
Yes, see you then.
Bye-bye.